let me slow down a second.
I just wanted to make one small
This
point
really pissed me
in
off.
support of. I just wanted to make one small point about what Mehdi was saying regarding the rolling hills of southern Ukraine. I was a little suspicious because I kind of imagined that southern Ukraine was a very, very flat area. But I actually looked up a topographic map, and you can see exactly what he's talking about. There are these kind of river valleys and this sort of ridge with higher elevation over here. If you guys are sharing my screen, yeah, there it is. So this is a fairly hilly area. I mean, just to compare it, if you look over to the Donbass, it's not quite as hilly as the Donbass, but it certainly isn't exactly a total flatland region. So just one point I wanted to make, that's all.
I thank you for it, but the thing about the night optics, I want to get to that because this has pissed me off really. Our side, not our side, our stupid leaders think that the Russians are such barbarians that they don't have thermal optic systems of their own. Right? So they think the M2A6 wonder weapon go in there because it can see everything on the spectrum was going to change the tide of the war from some of the shit I read. And they really thought that was going to give them the edge to attack at night. Folks, back at the beginning of the war, they were putting thermal targeting kits on T-55s just for the freaking the Homeland Defense Forces and LPR and DPR. They can see everything that's going on. It's not that's just so asinine that they assume that. I almost I read it somewhere that this was actually talked about. Now that's why I'm saying, if this is true, this is what they thought. That is how fucking out of reality they are to what is going on in the ground and dealing with something this big.
Archimedes said something showed something very interesting about the terrain in the most southern part, because after that southern part is really flat terrain, like we're seeing in the map. But also something very interesting is that in most of the explanations...
I'm going to pull it up again.
Yeah, please. That's very good. We have the Limans. Limans is a kind of a very big delta inside of land. Not like you see, Melitopol has a big Liman. This huge Melitopol, that huge waterfall, river, which is pretty much the river coming, the sea coming inside Melitopol. And most of the times we see like the explanations of the Ukrainians coming from the north to the south and being able to conquest through Melitopol the Crimea. It's what the fuck these guys are talking about. There is a huge Liman. This is this huge water river or entrance. They could never cross it.
I think they've flirted with amphibious operations all war long. The Ukrainians have. I don't remember any Russian amphibious operations, any major ones anyway, but I know the Ukrainians remember the nuclear power plant, and even before then, in other areas, they try to do these river crossings with those inflatable boats or whatever.
Were they successful ever?
Well, no, they successfully. I don't think they've. Throughout this entire war, they've kept trying to do this, where they try to have an amphibious, some kind of like they're trying to do a Normandy or something like that. I don't know, right? But they've had this repeated theme where they keep trying to do this. So, I don't know. I don't know how realistic it is. How realistic their understanding is of the likelihood of success of these operations, because as far as I can tell, I don't know if there's been any major successful ones.
This is a couple of guys in Europe or in the US making plans for a terrain. They have no idea what it is. And Archimedes just showed us it's not so simple. Their plans are always very simple. They don't count on the Limans. They don't count on the hills. They don't count on anything. It's like straight lines.
I don't know. They've been fighting this war for a decade now, right? I think that people are aware to some extent. It's just that who knows how well that awareness travels up to that people that actually make the decisions. Like people fighting on the ground, of course they know what works and what doesn't.
I don't think so, because the BTRs, the BMPs, are amphibious, and they treat these vehicles like they are, you know, something useless. But Bradley is not amphibious, like in the most of the Western vehicles that they received. So good luck with them crossing some rivers.
Yeah.